Our first paper will be presented by Qingmian, if my pronunciation, if my pronounce correct. Okay, so
no problem.
I go through our presenter. I find it's quite international. Where we have a presenter from Australia, from Europe, also from South America. So hopefully we have a good discussion. So please keep the time. Each presentation have 20 minutes. So please control your presentation time within 15 minutes. And then we have 5 minutes for Q&A session. So let's start now. So our first paper will be operational reliability assessment of photovoltaic inverters, consider voltage and VAR control function. So please, Qingmian, please share your slides. So Qingmian received his bachelor and master degree in electrical engineering from Beijing Jiao Tong University. He is currently pushing the PhD degree at the University of North-South Wales, Sydney, and his research interests include power system planning and operation, voltage stability and control, reliability of power electronics, and applications of optimization theories. So please start now.
Thank you, Professor Ho, for your introduction.
Yeah.
Now I will start sharing my screen.
Okay.
So can you see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's very clear. Yeah.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. And today I'm very honored to have this opportunity to give a presentation about our paper. And the title is Operational Reliability Assessment of Photovoltaic Inverters, Considering Voltage VAR Control Function. And the authors are Qingmian Zhang, Zhang from the University of New South Wales, and Yan Xu from the Nanyang Technological University. So this presentation will be delivered with four parts. The first is the background, and followed by the methodology, and then the case study, and finally the conclusion. So background, what is VAR control with PV inverters? According to the Australian PV Institute, by September 2019, there are over 2.2 million PV installations in Australia, with a total capacity of over 13.9 gigawatts. And it is good with this huge amount of renewable energy, but there are also many challenges. For example, the voltage deviation. And the VVC function with PV inverters is an emerging technology for system voltage regulation. It aims to utilize the PV inverters connected in the distribution network to provide additional reactive power support. And this figure gives the framework of the VVC function. And we can see that the VVC optimizer can collect input data from the such as the PV and load predictions and the system parameters, and then it works out the best solution of the reactive power output results of each PV inverter, and then deploy the result to each inverter. Each inverter can operate following these signals, and the system voltage can be regulated. And also, the aggregated PV systems, that is the PV-based virtual power plant, can also be utilized to provide this VVC function. PV inverter reliability. We all know that in a solar PV system, there are two main components. One is the PV panels, and the other is the PV inverter. The lifetime of PV panel is about 25 to 30 years, but for PV inverters, it is usually less than 15 years. And the number is only 5 years in 2012. And the figure and the picture below is from 5 years field experience of a PV plant. And we can see that the PV inverter takes the largest percentage among all the other components regarding both the unscheduled maintenance events as well as the unscheduled maintenance cost. And thus, the PV inverter is one of the most unreliable parts in a PV system. So the problem is, what are the impacts on the PV inverter reliability if they are used to support a VVC function? And this paper aims to address this problem and find out whether it is economically efficient to utilize these PV inverters to provide the VVC function in the long term. So the methodology. In order to analyze the inverter reliability, a VVC model is required. And in this paper, an inverter-based VVC model is formulated with these following equations. And the first equation is the objective function, which aims to minimize the network power losses by optimizing the control variable QG. QG means the reactive power outputs of each inverter. And the equations 2 to 4 are the linearized these flow equations, which gives the calculation of the power flow as well as the bus voltages. And the equations 5 to 8 gives the the other constraints, gives the calculation of the network power loss and allow range of the system voltages and the inverter reactive power output capacity. Solution method. And from this formulation, we can see that there are two uncertainty variables. One is the PV generation and the other is the bus load. So in this paper, a scenario-based stochastic optimization method is applied to solve these uncertainty problems. And the Monte Carlo sampling is also used to generate the scenarios based on historical data and the corresponding probability density functions. So the second is the inverter reliability assessment. And the inverter reliability is assessed by estimating the lifetime of the PV inverters based on the analysis of the thermal stress of the power devices. For example, the IGBT modules inside the inverters. And this paper assumes the IGBTs as the main power device. And the flowchart are the main process. We can see that based on the proposed VVC model, and we can obtain the inverter reactive power output results. And with this associated PV active power, and we can put them into the IGBT power loss model. We can obtain the IGBT power loss. And then we put the IGBT power loss and the ambient temperature profile into the thermal model. We can obtain the junction temperature profile of the IGBT module. And by applying the rainfall counting technique, we can transfer this junction temperature profile into this regulated thermal cycles, and we can obtain some useful information. And we put these useful parameters into the lifetime model. We can obtain the inverter lifetime. So firstly, the power loss model. And for the power loss of IGBT module, there are two components. One is the conduction power loss, and the other is the switching power loss. And these two components can be calculated based on the first two equations. And the third, we can see that the power loss has high correlation with this highlighted IP, which is the inverter current amplitude. And this amplitude can be obtained from the third equation. And then the fourth equation gives the calculation of the power factor. And other parameters can be directly obtained from the manufacturing dataset. And the thermal model. And this picture gives a thermal structure of an typical IGBT module. We can see that there are three layers. From up to down is the junction, the case, the hinge sink. And the power loss generated from the IGBT chip can be are dissipated following this path and finally to the ambient. And thus, with the inverter, with the IGBT power loss and the thermal impedance between each two layers, we can obtain the temperature of each layer, and thus the junction temperature can be obtained. And the equations on the right hand gives the calculation. So the third step is the rainfall counting technique. We use this technique to transfer this irregularly varying junction temperature profile into the regulated thermal cycles. And then we can obtain the three important parameters, the TJ, TGM, and TON. And the picture on the right hand gives the demonstration of the rainfall counting technique. You can see that the red curve is the original junction temperature profile. And by using this rainfall counting, it is transferred into three regulated thermal cycles. And also, the three important parameters are demonstrated in this figure, as shown in the blue color. And finally, the lifetime model. And this is the lifetime model that is applied in our paper. And by using these rainfall counting results, that is the three important parameters put into the lifetime model, we can obtain the inverter lifetime. And other parameters can be obtained from curving techniques and also be directly from the manufacturing data sheet. So the simulation result. This picture is the system topology, and it is an IEEE 33-baud standard distribution network. And there are 10 PV-based virtual power plant connected in the system, and each virtual power plant has a rated power of 500 kilowatts. And also, the inverter is oversized by 10% to 550 kilowatt ampere to guarantee more available reactive power. And the picture on the right hand gives the gives the 1 year reactive power outputs of the VPP1, VPP4, and VPP10. We can see that for VPP1 and VPP10, they keep injecting reactive power the whole year. And for VPP4, it tends to absorb reactive power during the May-day peak generation hours. Junction temperature analysis. And this figure gives the rainfall counting results of the junction temperature in VPP4 and VPP10. And we can see that from the picture below, we can see that both the mean junction temperature of the VPP4 and VPP10 are increased due to the VVC function. And the picture above shows that the junction temperature variation of VPP10 is decreased by the VVC function. So the inverter lifetime with VVC function. And this table gives the calculated lifetime. And the first row is the calculated lifetime. And the second row is the reduction percentage compared to the case without the VVC function. And without VVC function, due to the identical profiles, the lifetime is obtained as the same 40.8 years. And we can see that from this table, most inverters in the system have reduced lifetime due to the VVC function, but there are some inverters do have longer lifetime, especially this number 10. We can see that its lifetime has been increased by about 6 times when using for the VVC function. That's quite interesting because it is pre-assumed that the VVC function should cause negative impacts on the inverter reliability, but its lifetime has been increased. So by looking back into the junction temperature profile, junction temperature analysis, we can see that although its mean junction temperature is increased by the VVC function, but its junction temperature variation is seriously decreased. And this leads to the longer lifetime, which indicates that for an IGBT module, the lifetime degradation caused by the temperature variation is much more than that caused by the junction temperature mean value. So also, the inverter lifetime with different oversizing rate is analyzed in this paper. And we can see that most inverters, almost nearly all the virtual power plant has reduced lifetime with an increasing oversizing rate, which indicate that this inverter lifetime has high correlation with its oversizing rate. So the conclusion. First, an operational reliability assessment approach of the PV inverters considering the VVC function is proposed. And secondly, the implementation of the VVC increases the mean junction temperature of the PV inverters, but it may decrease the junction temperature variation. And this may lead to positive impacts on the inverter reliability. And third, the inverter lifetime utilized for the VVC function has high correlation with their installation locations in the network, as well as their oversizing rate. So the future work will mainly focus on the 3 aspects. First is the reliability of the DC link capacitors will be incorporated in future inverter reliability assessment procedure. And the second is different VVC optimization models will be considered. And third is the inverter reliability will be used as a constraint for the VVC model development to guarantee both the VVC performance and the inverter lifetime. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Tsai, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your presentation. Okay, I think you address a very critical problem, especially for the photovoltaic, because we know photovoltaic are widely used and widely used as a renewable energy resources, and it's introduced quite a lot of problems for distribution systems. So you give a very insight work in the reliability assessment in this critical topic. So
thank you.
I received one question. So can you see the question QA here? Can you see that in your Zoom?
Yeah. I see
okay.
the slide 4.
Yeah,
sorry.
in the slide 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please answer this question.
How do you consider this
PV inverter consistently larger portion of the unscheduled maintenance. How do you consider the scheduling maintenance? And how would this affect the research motivation? I mean, if you consider both scheduled and unscheduled maintenance, then the inverter may not be most unreliable part of the system.
Yeah, that's a good question. But in this picture, we mainly focus on the failure of the inverter, which means that we mainly focus on the inverter lifetime calculation. But that's a good point to consider the scheduled maintenance. Yeah.
Okay. Then for his question, if we don't consider this page of slides only for this question, then how you consider the impact of the reliability for scheduled and unscheduled maintenance?
I think the unscheduled maintenance means some like malfunctions that happens during the whole operation. And some scheduled maintenance might be relating some cost, I think. Actual cost. Yeah. But that has not too much relation with the lifetime, I think. Yeah, it might relate it to the cost, like the inverter cost. Yeah, it is a good point to consider that in the future model. Yeah, I think.
Okay. So we have another questions.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Can you please elaborate the relationship between the use of reactive power and affecting or positively or negatively the lifespan?
Affecting positively. So do you mean the location? Whether the location affect?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, I think the location is very important because for different locations, there will be different reactive power output results. Because this VBC model has a very important input data, that is the system parameter, including resistance of the lines, like something like also the load, the bus load, and this could really affect the reactive power output of the inverter. So that's why for I have considered 10 PV systems in the system. That's why they have different lifetimes. Yeah, that is because the locations and also the system parameters. That's important. Yeah.
Okay. I think the second he has a second question. The second question is related to the lifespan, life of the PV systems. So so do you have some idea for that to use reactive power and for the life?
Yes. I think, so why does solar PV inverters have less lifetime? Because the active power is from the PV panels is really irregularly varying. It's fluctuant, right? So, and this is a key parameters for the inverter lifetime. So the reactive power can be used to mitigate this fluctuation. So that's the point. Yeah. For example, if the active power have a low value, we can provide some more reactive power, and to make the junction temperature less fluctuant. So that's the point, I think, and that's the future trend for an optimized reactive power flow to prolong the inverter lifetime, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Is there any further questions?
Yeah. I see the question is the higher use of reactive power directly. So, what I mean is that the reactive power will definitely lead to a high junction temperature, right? So there will be much more current flowing through the inverters. But what I mean is the point is to use the reactive power to complement the active power's fluctuation. That is the point. Yeah, and that is because in the inverter lifetime model, the junction temperature fluctuation has much more influence to the lifetime than the mean junction temperature value. Yeah.
Okay.
Do that answer make sense? Sorry. Does that? Yes, I have seen. Yeah, I have seen some literatures that indicates that the use of reactive power could lead to reduced lifespan. But the point is, the use of reactive power can also help mitigate the active power fluctuation, and this fluctuation is one key parameters for the inverter lifetime. And its impact, I think, is much more than the junction temperature mean value. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Any further questions? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you gave a very good, very systematic answer.
Thank you.
Actually, I have one quick question. So for the inverter, because we know the PV system is connected to the system, the inverter is quite complicated. So do you consider different part of the inverter, which is most vulnerable part in the system? Which part is most have the highest impact for the reliability?
Yes, I think two parts. One is the power device. That is a semiconductor device. That is that is what I mentioned in this PowerPoint. And the other is the DC link capacitor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is there any historical data for that?
Sorry?
I mean, is there any historical data for that for analysis reliability? I mean, because PV systems, we don't have a very long history applications, so maybe we only have like 10 years data. Yeah. So is there any reliable database for the reliability assessment? Because all your studying is based on the data set, right?
I think that there should not much, because the inverter is like it's an what do I say? It's like emerging device, like for these PV systems. Yeah. So perhaps there are some data related to their lifetime, but yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So time is up. Sorry, I have to finish this very interesting discussion with Mr. Chai. And
thank you.
So if all of you have any further questions, please go to we can discuss offline. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much.